And if I'm elected, I would be the first Palestinian Mexican American elected, the first person elected to Congress who's lived in Gaza, where I maybe saw more combat there, more war than I may ever see as a naval officer at the age of 12 years old. So this is a very deeply personal issue to me.
Joining us now is Ammar Campa-Najjar. He is a great candidate. He's running against Darrell Issa. Oh, boo. So Issa's been around a long time and not been a good guy for a long time. One of the wealthiest members of Congress. You'll be shocked to find out he's always in favor of tax cuts for the rich and deregulation for companies like his own and companies that are his donors, et cetera. You get a sense of how I feel about Issa. Ammar's run before, you might remember him. He was just Democrat. And now the district is very different. So we've got a different race on our hands. Ammar joins us today. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Happy holidays. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, man. So let's dive into it. So this district is not the same as before, and all of a sudden Issa's in trouble. Tell us about what happened there.
Yeah, so now we got a new-ish bluish district thanks to all the redistricting that's going on. California's 48th district went from a district that Trump won by 15 points to now a district that Kamala Harris won by 3 points. So when I ran for Congress before, with your help, we came within single digits in a district that Trump won by 15 points, meaning people who voted against Biden also voted for me, right? Some Trump voters voted for some skinny brown guy with a funny name, a Mexican Palestinian guy. And it's because I talked about working class issues. It's because I talked about the grift, the greed, the corruption, the tyranny that we see in Washington. I talked about, making sure that we overturn Citizens United and get money out of our politics. And I was running against a guy who literally has been, for 20 years, to your point, has been selling his votes to the highest bidder, whether it's big oil, big pharma, the big gun lobby, big tech, foreign interests, you name it. And I say it's time that we push that shit back forever and have somebody who will have a bold agenda to bring down costs, raise wages, get rid of our forever wars, and get money out of our politics. So I think with that message this time, Darrell's days are numbered.
It's the interesting thing about Issa. So, you're half Palestinian, he's Lebanese. So this is one of the rare Arab v. Arab races in the country,
right?
Kind of. But right. So Issa, I found out recently, used to actually say that what Israel was doing was an apartheid state. But it sounds like he's not saying that anymore. I wonder if it's because he took AIPAC money. Did he take AIPAC money, Ammar?
And throughout his history, he's taken about $90,000, and he changed his tune pretty drastically in the form of a flip-flop. So I don't know where he stands on it, and I can't wait to get to him in the general election and ask him, where do you stand on this? Personally, I think what happened in Gaza is an atrocity. There were 30 members of my family who were killed in Gaza. Of course, what happened on October 7th was awful, and it's an atrocity itself. And two wrongs don't make a right. But Darrell Issa has been rubber stamping every single unpopular policy from this administration, whether it's his views on the Middle East, whether it's the tariffs, the big ugly bill, what's going on in Venezuela and Nigeria, the perpetual forever wars that are starting all over again. That's been Darrell Issa. And I have to wonder, is it because he's being funded by interests who want to perpetuate war, the industrial military complex, right? And I'm a naval officer, I support the military, but I think that, we need to focus less on the wars that we wage abroad and more on the battles that we have here at home, right? The cost of living, housing, healthcare, groceries. People are being crushed. And there's a lot of Trump voters who have talked to me and they're like, Trump lied to us. And Darrell Issa has been rubber stamping all these policies that make us weaker, sicker, and poorer. And so I think people want a candidate who will put this country first and not the bidding of outside influences.
Yeah, you don't take AIPAC money?
No.
Do you take corporate PAC money?
I don't take a single penny of corporate PAC money. In the 7 years that you've known me, never once.
Yeah, and that was a rule of just Democrats, and Ammar was part of that as well. So that's huge because then if somebody's working for the voters or if they're working for the donors. I mean, my opinion is Issa, quote unquote, changed his mind on Israel when he got paid to change his mind. And I think Ammar is right. It's not just about Israel, and in that case, he apparently, had some moral misgivings about what Israel was doing, but the money mattered more than his morality, and that seems pretty clear on the record. But it's also on every donor class. So you bring up the military industrial complex, and they've probably given away more than AIPAC has, et cetera. But another issue that's huge, Ammar, these days, of course, in all these and has been for a long time, is things like drug prices, right? Healthcare overall, but drug prices in particular. And so, has Issa done anything to make sure that Medicare can negotiate drug prices? And the fact that he can't is obviously very anti-free market, very anti-capitalist. So a guy pretending to be a capitalist, has he done anything to help the American voters on that?
Not a single damn thing. He just keeps lining his pockets and selling his votes to the highest bidder. And I don't take any corporate PAC money at all. I support the idea of allowing Medicare to negotiate all prescription drug prices, not just the few that we got under Biden, all of them. I support raising wages, lowering costs. I support, making sure that private equity firms aren't buying up all the homes. No more forever wars. No more money, big money in our politics. Does it sound familiar?
Yeah, it does.
And of course, last but not least, paid family leave, so both parents can go to work full time and support a dual income household. So while he's focused on funding the wars that we're waging abroad, I'm focused on the battles that we have here at home. And if I'm elected, I would be the first Palestinian Mexican American elected, the first person elected to Congress who's lived in Gaza, where I maybe saw more combat there, more war than I may ever see as a naval officer at the age of 12 years old. So this is a very deeply personal issue to me. And I think that we need to make sure that our American dollars travel with American values. That's what the Leahy laws are there for. So, when it comes to any of our foreign allies, we should not be sending weapons of war if they are not complying with the rules of engagement and the laws of armed conflict that all of us as military officers here in America have to abide by. I mean, if I did half Netanyahu did, I would have lost my commission. I'd be court-martialed today. So all I'm asking for is for us to live up to the same values and encourage our allies, whether it's Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, or anybody else, to live up to the same rules that we have to live by as American military officers.
Yeah, so it is kind of amazing that we just say to our allies, you don't have to follow any of the rules of war, international laws. And yes, we would court martial our own guys if they did what you did, but we're gonna send you money anyway. And so that's the power of the donors. And Ammar, when you first ran, I remember, they were gonna come after you for being a Palestinian, and you were concerned about that and the media reaction. But now, 8 short years later, we have a completely different dynamic where, number one, you're not taking AIPAC money, so instantly people think, okay, well, he's more trustworthy than someone who is, whether they're on the left or the right these days, they think that. And then on top of that, the interesting irony of the moment is that what you were concerned about 8 years ago is now potentially an advantage for you, because even when Republican voters, and definitely independent voters, let alone the left-wing voters, when they see that you're a Palestinian, part of what that triggers is, oh, that brother probably believes in American sovereignty. Like right. America should run itself and not let a foreign government run us. So do you think it's become a slight advantage at this point?
If you told me 8 years ago, hey, Mara, wait a minute, in a couple years, being a Palestinian American will be an asset politically. I'm like, you're crazy, Cenk. You're living in a different world. But lo and behold, we do live in that world now. And I think, maybe it's shorthand for Ammar believes in no more forever wars. Ammar has compassion for those who are, struggling in this country. And, and he's gonna punch up against elites and corporate interests. Maybe that's what that means to people. And, I look at Trump and the right, not everybody from the right, some of them are coming along for the ride. But I often look at Trump's rhetoric, and he punches down at the immigrant, the undocumented, Muslims, trans kids. And that's 1% of the population. It's the wrong 1%. You got to be focused on the elites and the oligarchs and the corporate interests and the corporate welfare that's going around this country. And for me, my focus is I'm going to put people first. I'm going to put this country above all else. And those are my policies. And my goal, honestly, if I get to Congress, I'd love to do shuttle diplomacy and help broker a peace deal between the Palestinians and Israelis. My heart breaks when I hear an Israeli child was killed by Hamas. The same way I despair over the killing of an innocent Palestinian child or young or woman or non-combatant by weapons that we sent over, right? My heart breaks. And in fact, I don't think those are mutually exclusive. If you're going to be morally consistent, you need to feel despair for both. And my hope is that we could live in a world where Palestinians and Israelis could live side by side in peace, prosperity, and self-determination. And I'm deeply invested in that kind of future. So I'm in no way saying, screw Israel. What I'm saying here is we need to have peace and prosperity for everybody. And the safety of Israelis is inextricably bound to the safety of Palestinians. As someone who lived there, I'm telling you from lived experience that we need to have peace for both people, not just one side.
Yeah, and there are important distinctions, right? So I would say screw the Israeli government today, but I wouldn't say that about the Israeli people.
Right.
What we want at the end, because we're for peace, we're for nonviolence, we're for common humanity, and we don't discriminate based on religion, race, nationality, etc. So
Right.
we all want a safe and independent Israel and Palestine.
That's right.
And I think that the great majority of Americans want that. Okay, so now how's the race? Because in the past, as you said, this was a plus 15 district for Trump. So very, very hard to win in that district. Now, current district has changed, current polling from Blueprint Polling. Let me read that to you. In the initial head-to-head, Ammar Campa-Najjar leads Darrell Issa 43-40. Campa-Najjar leads Issa among moderates, 45-26 among moderates. Women 47-38, and voters under 45 years old 46-30. Geographically, he begins with a 15-point advantage in San Diego County, 49-34. After voters heard short biographies of both candidates, Ammar Campa-Najjar's lead expands to 48-40 for Issa. So, that looks pretty good.
Good.
So first, what's your website? So folks know how to help.
So the way we're going to win this race and increase that margin is by people going to our website, going to Ammar, AMMAR, FOR, Congress.com. Pitch in what you can, 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks. I don't take any corporate money, but they are going to be coming after me because I'm out there saying we need to tax the shit out of wealth and not work. We need to raise wages, lower costs. We need to expand healthcare. Look, I'm a military officer. I have TRICARE. It's government-run healthcare, and it works pretty good. So we need to expand more healthcare coverage for more people, no more forever wars, and we have to make peace more profitable than war by investing here at home. Those are the things that I believe in, but those corporate interests are going to be coming after me every single step of the way. They're going to accuse me of being all this shit. They're going to call me a terrorist even though I'm a naval officer serving my country. They're going to say all kinds of stuff. So what I need from you is to pitch into our campaign to help us just get the truth out, because if we do that, we win this race.
Yeah, and volunteer and whatever else you can do, because guys, this is all of a sudden, first of all, a lot of seats are in play that were not in play before. Number two, this now is arguably a Democratic district, and Issa is one of the worst guys in Congress. So there's a lot of factors going in here towards Ammar's side. So if you want to help, that makes sense to me. And obviously, you saw his policies were literally nearly identical to the populist plank, which obviously we support here. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Ammar, last question. What do you think is this is a question I'm asking everybody that comes on the show. What do you think is the biggest problem right now in America for basically our government? And how can we fix it?
Good question. People keep asking me, Ammar, is our democracy going to save us? And I don't think so. I think we have to save it. And I think the biggest threat to any democracy is apathy. I mean, shit, if every person who believed what we believe actually showed up and voted, we would never have the government we have today. But they just get tuned off. So apathy, I think, is the biggest challenge that we face. Apathy is the reason that we have income inequality. In this state, we're the richest and poorest state in the union. It's the reason that we have a concentration of power, both political and economic, at the top, because the rest of us are just going about our lives. We're too busy. We don't think politics actually has a role in our lives, but it does. It does. So I think the biggest problem is apathy. And what we need to do, and what I need to do, is knock, talk, walk, talk to voters, inspire them, not just by being the opposition party to Trump. God, that's exhausting and tiring. We have to be the opportunity party for working class people with an affirmative message to bring down costs, raise wages, and have a real backbone. And say, we're going to fight for the things that matter. We're going to fight for a populist plank. We're going to fight to lift people up and encourage them to believe that there are people like us who are actually willing to do the bidding of working people, not corporations and special interests.
All right, AmmarForCongress.com, and we'll have the link down below in the description box wherever you're watching this. Ammar Campa-Najjar on the precipice of knocking out one of the worst Republican congressmen in my lifetime. So thanks for joining us, brother. We appreciate it,
man. Thank you, and I'm really happy to be with the original YouTuber, Cenk. So many years later, good to be with you, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.